When recording this episode, there were some complications. My guest was really busy, so it was hard to find the time to record with them. So when we finally found time, I took the opportunity. In the middle of recording, I was told that dinner was going to be in about 10 minutes, so I had to rush it. Because of this episode was shorter than most of the other episodes so far, and I skipped over some segments. To make up for this, I'm recording this to add anything I wanted to mention. Before I get into anything else, shout out to my current favorite podcast, Super Breakfast Friends Club. Considering I'm making my own podcast about the video game cartoon Sonic Underground, it's no surprise I like video game cartoons. So, listening to a whole podcast all about video game cartoons, including ones I've never heard of, is a real treat for me. They've done 2 episodes of Sonic Underground so far. They're good. They clearly don't like the show like I do, but they're respectful about it, and they give reasons for why they don't like it, some of which I agree are negatives, even if I am probably the biggest Sonic Underground fan. They also mention Mickey Momo pretty frequently, which is neat since I like that show a lot. I think it's pretty underrated, which is understandable when the show isn't fully translated into English. If you're not interested in this podcast, however, one of the hosts is a streamer. He's Skull Pirate Mike on Twitch and YouTube. Speaking of magical girls, I'd also like to give a shout out to Sparkle Side Chats with Magical Girl IU. It's a podcast where they talk about different magical girl series from around the world. I consider Sonic Underground a magical girl as explained in episode 1, so I want them to do an episode about it, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Something I thought was funny in To Catch a Queen that I noticed when getting the music to edit into the podcast episode was that in the music video, we see Sleet nodding his head to the beat of the song. Obviously, this is just a random clip they used for the music video to save making new animation, but it's funny seeing one of the villains implied to enjoy the music of the protagonists. Certainly not something the Misfits would do when hearing a song from Gem. In the previous episode, I mentioned that Sonya did a move called Sonya Spin, and I realize now that I don't think she has ever used that attack ever again in the series. I don't know why they would drop it. If I'm right, then outside of this episode, Sonya might be the only one of the triplets who doesn't have any superpowers. You may be thinking that Manic doesn't have any superpowers, and you might be right, but Manic has been shown to beat on his drum so hard it causes an earthquake, which could be a superpower if it isn't just the power of the drums. If it isn't the power of the drums, though, that would mean Sonic is the only one with superpowers, which is kinda lame. It makes me wonder if Deke deliberately chose for Sonya and Manic to not have any physical abilities so they could fully rely on their gadgets, and maybe they were planning to make toys of these things. Sonic, with his super speed, doesn't have a vehicle. That is, not counting the van, which is kind of for all of them. I think the merchandise of the van and Sonya's motorcycle would be cool, as well as Sonic's guitar. Though we kind of have Sonic's guitar in the form of a Tiger Electronic game. Fun fact, they never find their mother in the show, but they find their mother in the Tiger Electronic LCD game. Something that Kira wanted to mention was that when Sonya and Sonic are talking, Sonic has 2 medallions, one on his chest and the other in his hand. I have a segment I was going to add where we come up with ideas for what the Japanese style of the episode would be. This is because episode titles for Japanese shows are very different. My thought for this episode would be Sonya's friend works with Robotnik, the Sonic Underground, and the Freedom Dilemma. Speaking of episode titles, I haven't looked at the international titles of previous episodes, so let's do that now. For Wedding Bell Blues, the French title is Union is the Joke, and in German it's just The Wedding. In Italian, it's Wedding March. Polish, it's Blues of Wedding Bells. In Portuguese, it's Deceptive Marriage. In Romanian, it's Bell Bell Blues. And Russian is just Wedding Bell Blues. In To Catch a Queen, the Chinese title is just Capture the Queen. In French, it's Failure to the Queen. And then in German, it's like, How do you catch a queen? And then in Hungarian, it's like, The Queen's Place. In Italian, it's In Search of the Queen. And in Persian, Find the Queen. In Russian, it's Catch the Queen. And then in all the other languages, it's just To Catch a Queen. Mobodoon has the same title for every language, except in Italian, where it's called Back to Home. Though the French version looks like it says something different. It says Moborg Ledtor, but the translation on the side says Mobodoon, so I don't know what's with that. The wiki says a piece of trivia for Mobodoon, which is Manic points out that on the second even day of the third month, when the moon is in full, bam, it shows us just like clockwork. Most likely meaning they were born on March 4th. I did not make any notes about that line when I was talking about Mobodoon, because that just sounded like a bunch of gibberish. Because he's said it so fast, and it sounded so cryptic, but now I see. It means they're born on March 4th. I asked Kira if I could read some of our chat messages, because we had some interesting conversations. And, I want to extend the length of this episode since it was kind of short. So I asked them who their favorite Sonic character was. I mentioned that mine was Sonya, and they said theirs was Knuckles. And I asked them if Knuckles was their favorite Sonic character in the whole franchise, and they said no, it was Sonic. And they mentioned that Sonic and Garfield were their favorite things growing up, and they grew up with Sonic X, and they watched it as it was airing. They also mentioned that their favorite Sonic show was probably Sonic Boom. Then I mentioned Sonic Prime, and they asked if it was any good, and I said yes, it's really story-driven. And they were like, my second favorite character is Shadow, I can't wait to watch it. And I was like, oh my god, I love Shadow too. He's also my second favorite character. My first being Sonic. And they're like, awesome, me too. And I was like, oh my god, we're twinning. I asked if they could make their own Sonic cartoon, what they would do. And I mentioned I would want a reboot of Sonic Underground with Shadow and Tails. And they said that would be so cool. And they would want a remake of Sonic X and add more robots from the games. They mentioned that they just wish more of the shows brought back the vehicles and robots from the games in general. Okay, that's it for the messages from our conversation. The messages from our conversation, I guess that makes sense, but I don't think that's a normal way of wording it. So here's our chat. Hi, I'm Stapler. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and this is Sonic Second, where we talk about every episode of Sonic Underground. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Kira Cat, and my pronouns are he, him, and they, them.
So here's where I say any new Sonic-related developments in my life, and I don't have any. Do you have any new Sonic-related developments?
Started playing Sonic Mania again, that is all.
What is your experience with Sonic? What was your first introduction and stuff?
Well, my first introduction to Sonic was the Sonic X TV show back in 2004 or 5 when it released. Around then, I I grew up watching the show ever since I was a little kid, and then since then I've just been obsessed.
Did you watch it on the Fox box?
Watched it I think it was on CW, I believe, the TV channel.
Ah, I see. Can you tell the listeners the thing you told me about the chili dog?
Oh yes, as a kid I was obsessed with the chili dog simply because Sonic was, and I begged my mom to make them for me when I was a kid, pretty much every time she could.
Okay, here's
She
where I
was a
look up
massive
the
Sonic fan.
episode wikis to see like the air date and who wrote the episode. Because we're talking about The Price of Freedom. In France, it aired on January 7th, 1999. That's my birth month, but I'm a few days before. And then in America, it aired on September 2nd, 1999.
Both of those are before I was born.
Yeah. I mean, technically, yeah, they're both before I was born, too.
I think the most interesting part is that the names slightly differ in other languages. In French, or in France, the episode translates to "Race Against Time" or "Course contre le monde."
Interesting. In most languages, Sonic Underground is just Sonic Underground, but in France, it's Sonic La Rebella. Makes sense because I think the meaning of underground they meant isn't just like literally under the ground. I think they also mean rebelling against the government. And in the Chinese dub, it's like, I'm not sure exactly how it's translated, but it is a translation of Sonic Underground. So the writer of this episode was Martha Morin, and she wrote for Robocop and Sherlock Holmes, The New Adventures of Madeline, and Cyber 9 New Dawn. That is certainly not reflected in this. I mean, I've not really watched any of those, but I can't imagine they're anything like this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I just looked up Martha Morin, the writer that I just mentioned, and what you just heard was me just reading the known for section on the IMDb. So I'm gonna go more in depth now. So I mentioned that she did Robocop, and I skipped the part where it was the Robocop series Alpha Commando. I think that started as a movie. Yeah, it started off as an action film, and then it got a series in 1998 called Alpha Commando, and she did a whole 40 episodes of that series. I mentioned she worked on Sherlock Holmes. That is such a very basic thing to say when Sherlock Holmes is public domain in some places, so there's a bunch of different movies and stuff. She specifically worked on the TV series Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd Century, and she did 4 episodes of that. And she did 4 episodes of The New Adventures of Madeline, and 10 episodes of Cyber 9 New Dawn. She also did a ton of other stuff that I've either never heard of or don't care about. She did a Strawberry Shortcake video called Happily Ever After. One episode of the Deep Troll series from 2005 that ends with a Z. I'm meaning to check that one out. She specifically did the episode The Dating Game. Apparently there was an Archie's in Jugman video, which she wrote. This is the only Sonic Underground episode she's done, and she did an episode of X-Men the Animated Series from 1996, The Little Lulu Show, 2 episodes of the Double Dragon cartoon. She did an episode of G.I. Joe from 1991. She even worked on all 3 of the Mario cartoons, which includes The Night Before Cave Christmas from Super Mario World, which I've technically not seen. I've only seen a video talking about it, which includes clips from that one. That one's kind of crazy. I've seen the other Mario cartoons, but I don't think I've seen the episodes that she's done. I've only seen like 1 episode of The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3, and I've seen some of the Super Show, but she seems like she's done the later episodes. She did 46, 49, and 59. 46 is the painting slash the quest for pizza. 49 is Glass Nuts slash Plumber's Academy, and 59 is Opera slash Flatbush Koopa, or Flatbush Koopa. And the slash is because the Super Show has live action segments and animated segments, and so those are listed, those are called different names in the episodes. She also did an episode of the Cop series from 1998. Both parts of the Barbie 1987 Gem and the Holograms ripoff. Because when the people who made Barbie found out they're gonna do Gem and the Holograms, they made Barbie and the Rockers. And so then later, after Gem and the Holograms had a show, Barbie made a couple TV specials or TV movies. Apparently, she wrote for a Hello Kitty thing, for the Hello Kitty TV series. I didn't think that there was an American Hello Kitty TV series. I thought all the English Hello Kitty shows were dubs of the Japanese one, but maybe not. Or maybe she did the localizing for it. It was the Hello Kitty show called Hello Kitty's Fairy Tale Theater. She also did the Brave Star show, and it says she did Ghostbusters, the 1986 show, but I thought that the show for Ghostbusters was called The Real Ghostbusters. Oh, it's Filmation's Ghostbusters, so I guess this is different from The Real Ghostbusters. Okay. Looking at the voice actors... Okay, so I've not looked at voice actors in any previous episodes. So I've not really looked at voice actors for previous episodes. And I'm not going to look at the voice actors for the main characters because I think everyone's already done that. Everyone knows that the triplets are all voiced by Jaleel White, and people have gone over the singing voices. But for one episode characters like Mindy, I don't think people really look at that because people aren't looking episode to episode. So Mindy's voice actor is Louise Valance. She's done a voice on Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. According to IMDb, it looks like she's only done one voice for Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, Miss Possum. But then it says that she's done 65 episodes, and I don't remember Miss Possum, so I don't know what's going on. She also did Sonya's singing voice. I know I said it wouldn't go over the main characters, but saying that one of the main characters shares a voice with this side character is an original thing, and it's specifically Sonya's singing voice, so I'm not going over Jaleel White. She's apparently done English dubs, because she voices a character from Inuyasha called Jineji's Ma. I don't remember that character, but it's been a while since I've watched it, so I guess that's why. She did someone on Trolls. IMDb just says voice in parentheses, so I don't know. She also did Tigera in the English version of Bakugaiden Battle Brawlers. Never seen that show. Someone named GLADIS from Totally Spies. She also played a few characters in Dragon Tales. She played Mouse and Dixon Green in Reboot, Damon Rising, and I'm not realizing there's multiple reboots. So for the TV series of Reboot, she did Mouse, Rocky the Rabid Raccoon, and Child the Gnome, and looks like others. I've never seen Reboot, but I've heard people talk about it. She also played someone named Louis. She plays someone in Sabrina the Animated Series, and she plays Lee's mother in the English version of the Cardcaptor Sakura movie. I'm not sure if this is which dub this is, but it's one of them. Oh, apparently there was a Reboot video game, and she just played Mouse in that one. Okay, so she's played video games, because she also... Oh, wait. Okay, never mind. She played someone in Donkey Kong Country, the TV series, but the thumbnail, to me, it looked like it was a Donkey Kong Country game for a moment. But yeah, she played Dixie Kong in Donkey Kong Country. She was the English voice of someone in Heidi. I didn't know that there was an English version of Heidi. Well, it's not the Heidi TV series. It says it's a Heidi video. But she played Janet and Mary's mother in the Mega Man cartoon, and she's done a bunch of other voices, and it looks like she's also an actor because I'm seeing some live action stuff here. So I mean, voice acting is still acting, but like it seems like she's a non-voice actor too. Oh, she did Inspector Gadget. She did additional voices in Inspector Gadget, and she played someone in Care Bears. So yeah, that's interesting. The English voice actor for Gary Chalk is... Oh, wait, I said that backwards. The English voice actor for Mr. Latour, who is Mindy's father, is Gary Chalk. And as far as Sonic stuff goes, he's done voice acting on Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, that being Captain Rescue, Grounder, and Professor Knienstein. In Sonic Underground... Hold up, this isn't right. Okay, yeah, in Sonic Underground, he did Robotnik and Alternative Robotnik? Oh, okay. Alternative Robotnik is a Robotnik from another world, which we've not seen yet in the episodes we've covered. And also this one-off character named Vince? Okay, his only appearance is in the episode Artifact, which is way later in the show. Looking at characters that only appear in this episode, apparently there's one called Agent N. I do not remember this character, and honestly, I'm not sure if his name was ever mentioned in the episode. I feel like it might have just been in the credits, and it doesn't list his English voice actor, so we're gonna look at his Polish voice actor, because that's the only one here. Actually, let me see if it's on IMDb. Okay, I looked it up and I can't see anything about who the English voice of Agent N is. And before I go into the voice, I'm gonna read who it says he is. So apparently, he's the one who was assigned to oversee the production of Robotnik's Grubber Spy Watch, produced by Mr. Latour, though the scheme was eventually uncovered by the Sonic Underground in the aftermath of this. Yeah, so he went over the production of the Robotnik watches. So his Polish voice is... Let me look up how to pronounce this. Oh wait, I should go back to Gary Chalk, because I didn't even finish talking about him. I don't know why I stopped. But he also played a character in the Sonic the Hedgehog film. So some guy in Navy Chief to Staff. Yeah, okay. I don't remember this character, but okay. So looking up Gary Chalk, he did a few characters on Ninjago, that being Director Judge Toughbutt and Kilo. I've never watched Ninjago, but everyone seems to like it, so... He also played a few minor characters in My Little Pony Friendship and Magic, and he did Dr. Light in the 2018 Mega Man cartoon. I forgot that there are multiple Mega Man American cartoons, because I always just think about the one by Ruby Spears, but yeah, there was another one. He also played a few random characters in My Little Pony Best Gift Ever. He was someone in a video called Barbie Dolphin Magic. Wow, he's done a lot of live action stuff that I do not care about. He played Captain Bowen in Power Rangers. It doesn't say Power Rangers TV series or anything, it just says Power Rangers. Yeah, he's played some characters in Barbie movies and Barbie things, Barbie videos, Care Bear video, yes, multiple Care Bear videos actually, Bratz, I thought I saw a Sims. He played someone in a Tom and Jerry video. He played Man-at-Arms. Yeah, he played Man-at-Arms in He-Man Masters of the Universe. Or no, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe? Oh, this is the 2002 one. Okay. He was one of the Optimus Prime voices in the 2002 Transformers Armanda TV series. He was Warlock in Sabrina the Teenage Witch in Friends Forever TV movie. He was Blitzen in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the movie from 1998. I don't think I've seen the 1998 Rudolph, but that was the thing, apparently. He worked on Street Fighter, the animated series, Brooke, Delazam, and additional voices. He was also on the Heidi video. He was Pathfinder in G.I. Joe. He played He-Man in the New Adventures of He-Man TV movie. I knew that there was a New Adventures of He-Man show, but I didn't know there was a TV movie. Apparently, he was King Hippo in Captain and the Game Master. I've seen some of that one. And he was also the Guard Dragon in the same show. He was also Generation 1 Megatron in Beast Wars Transformers. I've never watched Beast Wars Transformers, but when I hear about it, I think about how in Canada, they couldn't call it Beast Wars, so they called it Beasties. So, Wojciech Machniki, if I'm pronouncing that right, based on the Google Translate pronunciation thing, was the voice of Agent N. He's a Polish theater actor and has done work for the Polish dub of Sonic Underground, of course. He was also the voice of a bunch of random characters in Sonic Underground, such as Bellok, Hot Hat, SWAT bots in general, and it says Prince and Salesman. I don't know who. Those are very unspecific. Looking up this guy on IMDb, it's a bunch of. It seems like it's all the listings are Polish movies, which, I mean, I don't really care that much about live action movies in the first place, and I don't have the like Polish movies don't have cultural significance to me since I didn't grow up in Poland. So I don't really have anything to say about his other roles. That's it for characters who only appear in this episode. Okay. So now we talk about the episode. Let me look at my notes. We start without narration this time, with a case scene. Well, actually, there is narration. Oh, no. Chase scene, I think is what I meant. But I wrote down case scene. Freedom is a precious thing. I should know. I'm Queen Elena, and I'm always on the run. But with all the running, sometimes you lose sight of your goal. Forget the gift that freedom really is. Sonya gets mud on her. My brand new Guccini. Now you're really gonna see road rage. Sleet and Dingo fight her, and she shoots them with her piano gun. I love this scene. I love seeing Sonya fight, and her piano gun is really cool. Sleet and Dingo encounter Fog and joke about right, and then they crash. Sonya is caught on a wood thing, and she's still concerned about her Guccini. Actually, now that I'm saying it, I don't think I know what a Guccini is. Let me look it up.
Another interesting thing is that they reused the same sound effect for her getting hit by the oil from the motorbike and the mud scene.
Interesting.
In fact, I recognized a couple of stock sound effects, such as in the main intro, Sonic's running sound effect is a specific stock sound effect that's been used a couple times in other media, such as I believe the SpongeBob Battle for Bikini PC game uses a similar sound as Sonic's running sound as a robot sound, which is just a very interesting thing.
Yeah, that is interesting. So I looked up Guccini, and I guess it's a jacket or something. That's what's coming up on Google. So I don't know what happened. But yeah, that is interesting. Sonic and Manic make fun of her, and she's fed up with it. So she goes to her friend's house, tells Sonic and Manic the address, but is like, but don't follow me though. Sonya, Mindy, girlfriend, and they kiss. And when I wrote that down, that sounds like something I made up, but that's literally what happens.
Sonya! Mindy! Girlfriend! Mwah! Mwah!
Yeah.
And, I mean, I know that, like, when straight girls say girlfriend, they mean it platonically, but that's the way it comes across to me. It feels gay.
Yeah.
They laugh, and there's a weird-looking animation to accompany it. But scarves are so 10 minutes ago. But it reminds me of Mother. Mindy designed her own watch, and her dad's factory made it. Robotnik taxes the estate so much that her dad needs to keep the factory open just to keep her in polka dots. I guess she really likes polka dots specifically.
I just would like to know why polka dots are so expensive.
Yeah. He's the hottest seller in Mobius. And I mean, his designs are pretty alright, but on the entire planet, his outfits sell the best. Alright.
Mm-hmm.
Sonia has this scary dream of a fight with Mobius, and then she sees her mother, who turns into Robotnik. The way the scene transitions, I originally wrote that she has a vision, because it's not clear that it happened when she was sleeping. But then she wakes up, and so I'm like, okay, I guess she's dreaming. She's in this really pretty pink dress.
Mm-hmm.
And the watch is actually a surveillance device sending info to Robotnik's intelligence agency, and she has a call with Sonic about it. They, Robotnik and his agency, know where she is. She apologizes to Sonic after saying she's fed up, which is a silly thing to apologize about. I mean, actually, no, I guess it kind of makes sense. Like, the way she was mad about being, like, the way she acted, I can understand apologizing, but just apologizing for being fed up.
Mm-hmm.
Sonic chastises Manic for stealing, and it's a polo melee, and they have a fight with spider bots and SWAT bots. They are captured by the SWAT bots. The female is in the house. Find her, is what Sleet says.
Mm-hmm.
Or, no, maybe Sleet didn't say that. I didn't write who said it, but whoever said it, someone said it. And then we fade to commercial. And then we're back from commercial. You are arrested for crimes against the state, and Dr. Robotnik hates hedgehogs.
Yeah.
Sonia releases from the trap. They go into a room to find a watch. Sonic deducts that Robotnik sells the watches dirt cheap. Everyone buys one. Then Sonia finishes, and everyone gets spied on. Sonia, the alarm went off. We thought someone broke into the factory, Mindy said. And her dad accuses Sonia and her brothers of being criminals, and Sonic says they could call him the same thing after what they saw. Sonia explains how the watches do more than tell time. Mindy is disappointed in her dad. Her dad said he had to let Robotnik do it to keep her safe because of what Robotnik would do to her if he didn't. And then Mindy's like, okay, but they're spying on people. What about Mobius? Sonic, Sonia, and Manic do their stock footage transformations. There's a music video with very tone-deaf lyrics. It has an okay melody and animation. And, like, the tone-deaf lyrics, I really shouldn't be surprised, because it's a very common, kind of thing to be like, oh, you don't need money. Which is really interesting when one of the main characters of this show grew up poor.
Yeah.
Dad, I don't need shopping and facials and manicures. You don't? No. Well, I could cut back. I can definitely cut back. She expresses that she wants to be a freedom fighter like Sonia and live life on the run. Enemies on every corner. Sonia says she could give a fashion disaster like Manic some style. Sleet and Dingo are on a front door, and Dingo is knocking. Mindy is focused on what she should pack, and her dad says she should go faster so they don't get caught by Robotnik. Dingo breaks the door. we see the Sonic Underground fixing watches. Mindy and her dad run out the house covered by suitcases. Sleet asks Dingo if he saw La Tour, and Dingo says he hasn't, but asks how suitcases could run by themselves. Sleet says the suitcases are actually them. La Tour says to leave the suitcases where they are. Oh, by the way, La Tour is the name of Mindy's dad. La Tour says to leave the suitcases where they are so they can run. Dingo turns into a blanket to cover them, transforms back, and Dingo and Sleet grab hold of them. Sonic has a SpongeBob face as he throws a suitcase at Dingo. Sleet and Dingo somehow get cuffed together. They celebrate. There's a flying bot that shoots a laser at Sonia and Manic and captures them in a net. Sonic isn't captured. Sleet and Dingo escape on screen and see this, and Sleet says, "Hey, there's our prisoners." Sonia, Manic, and Labor are captured, and Mindy is about to be roboticized. Sonic comes in to save them as he does it, and he does it by using the watch spiders he hacked. They're all saved and escaped the ship. Sonic makes the spiders attack Sleet. Mindy has to leave her old house behind, but that's okay because she'll still live with her dad. Sonia says, "Home is where your family is, even if they're a bunch of fashion challenge heads." And she winks at the camera for the end of the episode circle to envelop her. What did you think of that episode?
I mean, this is an episode that happens quite a lot when it comes to rebellions and things like that, about the price of freedom, the name of the episode. You see it all the time throughout most media. They do a story like this where a person has to make a choice whether they want to live in, they would rather live in luxury or be safe, or they have a choice to live in poverty or be, in danger. And it's happened quite a lot in media like Star Wars and things like that. And so, yeah, I liked it.
In a lot of episodes, I give what we learned from the episode. Usually it's a joke. I can't think of anything because there wasn't really that much weirdness in this episode that I can think of making a joke what I learned thing. Can you think of anything?
Well, this episode is a lot about fashion, so maybe fashion kills. Who knows?
Yeah, I learned that people who are really into fashion have a high chance of becoming incredible rebels against the government. So, where can people find you online if you wish to be found?
Just Kira Cat on Twitter with 2 eyes.
Okay. Well, until next time, see you another Sonic Second. For podcast questions, you can email me through staplersound@gmail.com. As for social media, my main account on Tumblr and Twitter is Magical Stapler, with my art account being Stapler Art. You can also commission me at ko-fi.com/staplerart/commissions. That's ko-fi.com/staplerart.
Money can't buy the things we really need, like the sun or the rain or the air we breathe. Can't buy a loving touch or the freedom we miss so much. Yeah, if you look inside your heart, I know you'll see that money can't buy the things you really need. Money can't buy, money can't buy, money can't buy the things you really need. Money can't buy the things you really need. diamonds and pearls can't put love in the world. If you look inside your heart, I know you'll see that money can't buy the things you really need.